Okay, I'm super excited about this message. Super excited. I love Shantideva. I love the Bodhisattva. I love talking about bodhicitta. Geez, I don't know. I don't know what else to tell you. I mean, I'm trusting my life to bodhicitta. I mean, if there's one transformational thing that gets me out of my own head is thinking of other people, you know? And I'm surrounded by people all the time that text me and call me, and like even last night somebody was communicating with me, and it's just like they're stuck in their self-centeredness, you know, my problems, my ego, why is this happening to me, you know, and they think it's the world doing it to them, but it's so easy to see when you're not in that yourself, you know. Obviously, I've been in the same situation many times, and I still fall into that. But, like, it's like I'm all alone, and, you know, this thing, and why this, and why that. It's like, go out there and help somebody. Go volunteer at a homeless shelter. Go, you know, go do anything. Get out of your apartment. Stop thinking about you and your troubles and stuff, you know. Or stay in your apartment and set up a shrine and start praying. Create a meditation practice where you're lighting incense for the homeless, and you're giving flowers to the starving children, and you're doing this whole practice just to get out of this poor me mentality. You know what I mean? And that's bodhicitta, and you are going to come for the next several months, and we're going to talk about bodhicitta, and it's going to be like Kylie never shuts up about bodhicitta. But A, that's all this book is about, and B, that's pretty much all Buddhism is about, you know? That's kind of like going to church and saying, I wish the pastor would shut up about this Jesus guy, you know? Christianity is all about Jesus, you know? The guy's going to mention Jesus sometimes, you know? So when I talk about bodhicitta, you may get, you know, tired of hearing it, but it's what we're doing here, you know? Like I said in the beginning, it's the one thing that Shantideva saw that would eliminate a multitude of ills. Does that make sense? Yes. All right, so in the next verse, Shantideva says, all other virtues are like the plankton tree, for after bearing fruit, they simply perish. Yet the perennial tree of bodhicitta unceasingly bears fruit, thereby flourishing without end. And so I looked up, so he's saying that bodhicitta is not like the plankton tree. I don't know what the plankton tree, have you ever heard of the plankton tree? Apparently there's a tree, maybe it's in India, that bears fruit, and once it bears fruit it dies. I don't know, I didn't look it up. I'm not a rocket surgeon or arborist or whatever, right? But apparently, going by what he said, there's a certain plant or tree that bears fruit and then it dies. But I did look up the word perennial. Have y'all heard that word before? So apparently perennial trees, there's evergreen and there's perennial, and these perennial plants and trees, they look like they die during fall and winter, but in reality, it says they're getting from their taproot. They're still feeding off of this, what is the word actually? Their root stock. They're living off their root stock. They look dead on the outside, but inside they have a vitality, an inner strength. They're conserving this energy until conditions change, right? And conditions always change. That's a given with Buddhism too. No matter what you're going through right now, it's going to change. If you got the best job in the world, guess what? You're going to eventually have to retire or something, right? Every situation is transient. Everything's in flux. There's no hard ground to stand on ever. And that's called impermanence. Everything's in flux. Everything changes. So these perennial plants, the cold weather comes, the howling wind comes, the rains come during winter, and they're like, okay, we're going to get down low. We're going to hunker down. We're going to look like we're dead. But we're going to hold on to this inner strength so that when spring finally arrives, You know, if you owned that plant or they were in your yard, you'd be like, oh no, that tree died. Or, oh no, the plant died. Oh crap. You know, it's the end of the world. We need to pull it up. Plant something else. No, just leave it alone. Because when the situation changes for that plant, it's going to spring back to life. So Shantideva is saying, in our own lives, whatever we're going through right now, hold on to that root stock of bodhicitta. Because when your situation changes, you're going to flourish again. You're going to live again. It's all going to be all right. Amen? All right. I'm going to stop saying amen. We're Buddhists. I'm saying konnichiwa. Konnichiwa? Konnichiwa, Tam? Konnichiwa? Okay, what's up, Charlie?
What is bodhicitta?
Bodhicitta is that wild desire to help the world. That crazy messianic feeling of no matter what I'm going through, there's people that are worse off than me. Like I said, there's a whole meditation practice of before you take a drink of something, you're like, may this not only nourish me, but by me drinking this, may it nourish every thirsty person in the world. Before I eat this, may it not only nourish my body, but all the bodies in the world, all the starving people in the world. And then the next level is actually getting out there and doing something, actually helping the thirsty. Go dig wells in Africa, or go work at the San Antonio Food Bank and help them make up grocery boxes for people coming by and that need groceries. So there's this messianic desire to actually get out there on the streets, protest, change, make petitions, whatever you got to do to help the world. And then there's the inner part of that. It's just not focusing on your own ego. Is that what you mean?
Mm-hmm. So being selfless. Yes.
Well, selfless, I would, the caveat there is you have to take care of yourself before you can take care of other people, right? And so even in my life, I've gotten burned out by helping other people. And I've done stupid things to help people. Like, why did I need to empty my bank account to give to somebody when I need money myself? And I got kids to take care of, and I got my rent coming. You know what I mean? So you got to take care of yourself. You got to love yourself, or you're not going to know how to help other people. And I think that's the root stock that Shantideva is talking about. Shantideva had very good self-esteem because in the monastery that he was at in Nalanda, he was picked on. He was bullied. People made fun of him. They thought he was dumb, lazy. They called him the monk of eating, drinking, eating, sleeping, and shitting, because that's all anybody ever seen him do. He didn't come to class. They never saw him doing his practices, but he showed up when there was food. You know what I mean? Ring the bell, and Shantideva's like, oh, hey, dinner time? Why didn't y'all wake me up? You know what I mean? And so they thought that he was the worst monk until they tried to embarrass him one time by asking him to get up in front of the whole school and say something, and he got up and preached this entire text. And they were like, damn! Wow! You know what I mean? And so he had good self-esteem. No matter what people said about him, to try to put him down or whatever, he was like, I know who I am and I know what I'm doing. And even when he got up there to speak, he was like, do y'all want me to speak about something you already know about, or you want to hear something new? And they're like, oh, you're gonna create something new for Buddhism? Yeah, let's hear something new that you've created for Buddhism, you know? And he's like, okay, actually, I do have my thoughts about this thing, you know? And yeah. And they're like, wow. So anyway, yeah, let's go to the next verse. Okay, so anyway, I always want this to be interactive, so I don't want to be the only one speaking up here. So, like I said in the beginning, if you could ask God one question, what would it be? I put here can you remember a time that you felt beaten and defeated, and yet somehow you survived it? Can you talk about it? That you had to stick to that root stock. Somewhere deep in, you could lay down and you could never get up again. And some people do that, Or you can turn to the bottle, or you can turn to drugs, or whatever it is. But you hold tight and you kept moving forward and you came out of it. Bueller.
That's like every day of my life.
Tell me about it. Literally, tell me about it.
I don't know. I'll have to think.
And when you go through a divorce,
Okay.
and you know you give your heart and soul to somebody, and you're thinking it's the right person you want to be with, and you come to find out it's not the person you thought you married, and you're thinking, wow, the time, the patience, the love that I gave myself to this one individual, this human being, and to have them do me, dirty.
So dirty.
You get through it, you put yourself aside, pick yourself up and say, you know what, life happens, I'm going to keep moving forward, and eventually I'm going to bring myself back to my happy place, or
And you don't think you're going to get through that.
Yeah.
you don't, because you go
Yeah.
you really do, you go through a state of depression, you go through the regrets, the wow, what could I have done differently, and you can never change somebody who doesn't want to be changed, who doesn't want to change. They
Yeah.
have to do it themselves. So that was one time in my life that I really felt a sense of hopelessness.
Yeah. You want to see the ugly side of somebody, try to break up with them, right?
Yeah.
Somebody that you loved and laid next to for years could take you to court and have lawyers and a team of lawyers and
Yes.
try to take your children and your money and be very evil and not even seem like that person that you were with for all those years, right? Anybody else have any experience with relationships or?
Same thing. That's what I was thinking. That it brings tears to my eyes, but I cry about everything.
You might want to talk out that way so they can hear you.
It's the same thing. That's exactly what I was thinking. 17 years of marriage, and my ex-husband and I were part of a ministry that we gave our entire lives to. And once I was divorced, I had to get a divorce. I never wanted a divorce. And once that happened, I had to go back to school to get a degree to raise my children and have some kind of income. And I was looked down upon in the fellowship that I was a part of, saying I gave my life to, and then ostracized. And I wound up leaving. And I went through depression, anxiety, and fear, and all kinds of crazy stuff. But I look at myself now, and I have tears of joy. I just came back.